Welcome back, and in the previous lesson we spent quite a bit of time looking at jQuery. And although jQuery is a fantastic library, if you're only using it for Ajax, there's actually some smaller libraries that are strictly focused on Ajax, and they do that really well as well, and you don't have to have all that excess if you're not using it. So not to knock jQuery, jQuery is fantastic, but there are other options if you're looking for something that's a lot more lightweight that just performs that Ajax functionality. And the one that is fairly popular is Axios. So this is available on GitHub. You can see it's been forked, it's been starred. So it is super popular. And basically it's a promise-based HTTP client for browser and for Node.js. So that's also pretty cool that it does work in Node.js. There's installation options here. So with npm, you can install it. You can install it with Bower. And we're just going to use the CDN for now because this is probably the simplest way for us to bring this into our project in our local machine right now. So we're going to be replacing jQuery with that. And that means that, well, we've got to replace all of our JavaScript code. So it's not really too bad. There's not really that much that needs to be updated. We're going to still be running off of JavaScript, but it's going to look a little bit different. So let's go into our file here. And first of all, we need to hook everything up with JavaScript because unfortunately we don't have jQuery anymore. So let's do that with JavaScript. So we saw that with jQuery. So we've got our form submit. So let's do that. So we're going to do variable my form, and we need to do document and get element by ID. We could also use query selector, but because we do have an ID for the form, called it my form, we're just going to do it that way. Next, let's set up my form, and we're going to add an event listener. So the event listener that we're going to be adding is submit. And then when it does get submitted, then we want to fire off a function. And for now, let's just, we do want to do one thing though. We do want to do that prevent default. So let's pass that event and prevent default. Because we don't want this firing off, and then we'll console log out submit. So we submit, so we see that everything is still working. We're picking up, and from here we're able to launch our Ajax request. So first of all, let's just do a simple get request. And in order to call over Axios, there's an Axios object. And just like jQuery, typing in Axios, you should get some type of callback information. So that means that it's hooked up and it's ready. If you don't get that, then check to see what's wrong. If your source or if you've downloaded it, maybe you're not linking to the right URL. So first, let's do our get request with Axios. So we're going to do get. And what we need here is we need a URL. So just pass in, and we're set it up as a variable URL, and then this is where we need some type of URL. So a number of different ones that we've got available to us. So let's set up a URL. We'll grab random user, and we're doing the Axios get URL. And we know that this is promise formatted, so it works the same way or similar to fetch, but it's still the old XHR object in JavaScript. So next we've got a response that happens. So basically a promise waits till this function completes, and then it does the next function. So in here, let's just do data, and then we can do something with that responded information. So we can console log out that data. So let's see what this looks like. So refresh, we submit it, so we don't actually need that anymore. So we can get rid of that. And we can see that we return back the data object. And so now we can actually make use of it. Because this is a JavaScript, a regular XML HTTP request object, we've got all of this information sitting in there. We've got the header information there. So it's JSON data, and we've got our config information, status. But what we're really after is the data. So we've got data and then info. So if we want to get data, well, we're data, maybe we could change that to another word, but for now, let's just do data info, refresh, submit. So we're able to pick that information up. So let's go back to data and let's see what else there is. So there's a bunch of results there in the array. So it's actually going to be the results that we're after because we're picking up from the API. And we can also specify results 10. And we could also specify results, so we can send some parameters there. So if we wanted 10 items there, refresh, and that will give us 10 results. So that would be something that we would have to loop through as well if we wanted to output it. So that gives us 10 results. And if we want the first one, we know that it's results. And because this is an array, we'll just do a 0 there. So this is just plain old JavaScript. And now we're ready to output that information, make use of it. We can do whatever we want with it at this point. So now that we've picked it up, we can output it here, or we can also take that information and do something with it. Let's actually put it in a variable, and we'll call it person. So this is our person that we've returned back. And now let's output that information into the output. So document. And this time, let's just do something different. So we'll do query selector. And we're going to grab output. And we can do inner HTML. So again, simple, plain old JavaScript. And let's create a variable for our HTML. So it's getting a little crowded here. So now that we've got that data that's sitting within person, we can do something like the name. So let's output the first and last name of this person. So we've got person, name, because this is another object, so we're going down one more level into name. Now we're grabbing first and concatenating it, spacing it out. Concatenating it again, and person, name, last. So that's what the HTML should read, submit, and there we go, submit. And we get a bunch of random different people. So go ahead and try this out for yourself and access the Axios library. You can bring it in a number of different ways into your project. So you can do NPM, so package manager, node package manager install as well. And just simply try to connect to one of the APIs. You can use random user me.api, pick up those results, and then output that information within your HTML page. So do try this out. And next, we're going to be looking at how we can post using Axios as well. So that's coming up.